Stay home for Labour, isolate in solidarity. Let's get together on Zoom, see into people's bedrooms. We're all voyeurs for free. Stay home for Labour, with Crispin as your MC. Get used to the smell of your fragrant hand gel, hands like an ancient mummy. I said stay home for Labour, wave your toilet rolls in the air real quick. Have a laugh, have a sup, keep your spirits up, cause when this is all over, we've got some asses to kick. I said stay home for Labour.
Diane Julie Abbott,
Labour.
18,912. And I declare that the said Diane Julie Abbott has been duly...
So a very good vote there for Labour. Diane.
And I want to say that the result tonight is first and foremost a triumph for Hackney North and Stoke Newington Labour Party, who worked incredibly hard and fought a positive campaign. They fought a campaign on the issues, and they fought a campaign designed to unite rather than divide. I want to go on to say that the result is also a triumph for the people of Hackney North and Stoke Newington, who came together, people of all colours, of all creeds, who came together to put Hackney in the history books tonight. I have come a long way to stand here before you tonight, and I am aware that a lot of hopes, not just in Hackney, but across the country, ride on our victory tonight. I hope and believe that I can fulfil those hopes. But I also know that nothing can take tonight away from the people of Hackney. This campaign and this result has been a victory for faith, a victory for principle, and a victory for socialism.
Welcome to the show, Diane Abbott.
Hello, everybody.
And how are you feeling on this, the day before your 33rd anniversary as an MP?
Well, I wasn't really thinking about the anniversary, but actually just seeing that footage of my election night made me just a tiny bit emotional. It just was quite moving to remember how I felt and how far everything has come. And just hello, because I know people are joining us from all over the country. I just want to say hello to all of them and thank you for joining me at this event.
And we've got a really busy show with lots of people have written in to me to ask to be part of it. And we've got lots of guests as well who are coming along to this surprise party for you, because you didn't seem to know much about this until we actually got you on the Zoom. So
I know nothing about it. I was talking to my colleague Ribeiro-Addy, and she was saying that she never thought she would successfully keep the surprise from me, but she did.
Well, that's fantastic, because that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be a surprise party, but it's very difficult with social media and to get that to happen. But we've managed it, and I'm going to start with a video mix of people who've sent. People have sent loads of videos in of messages to you. So I'm going to start with a video for you. And
Diane, I can't believe it's been, what, 33 years since the four of us walked through the doors of Parliament, where no one who looked like us had been before. It's been a struggle. You've been there throughout that. We've been working together for more than 40 years. 40 years in the struggle for racial, for social and economic justice. Diane, we've all seen ups and downs, victories, defeats, more victories than defeats. But throughout that time, you've been steadfast, you've been true to what you believe in, and you've been brave. And for that, I and your many friends are grateful. So, Diane, on this anniversary, let me say in words you'll recognise, knowing Ghana as you do. Diane Abbott, Aiko, Aiko, which means simply, well done, well done.
I'm so old, I remember 1987. Lousy year. Thatcher's third election victory, 3 million on the dole. Wall Street meltdown. Tragedies at Zeebrugge and King's Cross. And a hurricane devastating large parts of southeast England. Even the charts were dominated by Rick Astley and Kylie Minogue. But there was one good thing about that year. You got in. Thanks for everything, Diane.
1987 was not an easy year for the Labour Party. We knew from the outset that we were going to get beaten by Thatcher again. It was just a matter of by how much. And it was against that background that Hackney North and Stoke Newington CLP chose Diane Abbott in an open selection to replace its ageing and deselected MP. For me, it was a great honour to be asked by Diane and the CLP to lead that campaign. We knew that with Diane being black and a woman, it was going to present challenges, so we decided to fight the campaign as if it was a marginal seat. As her first campaign manager, we worked closely together, supported by a wonderful team of more than a dozen key activists, many of whom I'm still in touch with 33 years later. The constituency was worked like it had never been worked before, and the result was a Labour majority of over 7,500, beating a little-known Tory, Oliver Letwin. Unlike Diane, Oliver has now sunk into obscurity. So well done, Diane, for being an iconic milestone, and well done her campaign team, who against all the odds put her there.
Gosh, 33 years since I was part of the team in Hackney North that helped organise your campaign in Brownswood Ward. John Bennell, your first agent, ran it like a military operation to maximise your vote. Some 40 members and supporters in Brownswood got a thank you letter afterwards, if I remember correctly. On a personal note, I've always appreciated the way throughout your parliamentary career that you've been able to pick up difficult public policy issues and tackle them, such as prostitution, gun crime, or black boys' education. I hope you'll continue to speak out through these shocking times that are still to come before hard-fought equality and social justice can be truly realised.
I remember the pride and joy I had on that special night. You know, Labour didn't win, but I remember I was jumping for joy. You know, when Diane was elected as the first black woman member of Parliament in 1987, black communities only made up 1% of parliamentarians. Today, we count for a record 20% of Labour Party members of Parliament and 10% of all parliamentary members. You know, whilst we still have much to do, we are indebted And it's right for us to be indebted to Diane for breaking down many of the barriers facing black women, in particular in politics today. She's a true inspiration, a giant of the anti-racist movement. You know, we cannot forget, of course, the unprecedented levels of vile, racist and sexist abuse she has endured, even while she was Shadow Home Secretary, which accounted for half of all online hate directed at female members of Parliament. This shows how much work is left to do if we are to end the evils of racism and misogyny. In 2015, when Diane became Shadow Home Secretary, she did so of a party that had previously not opposed austerity, capitulated to right-wing narratives on immigration, and did not offer a genuine alternative for a fairer vision. That did not faze her, because Diane's socialist principles were clear from day one. She fought to reconnect the Labour Party to its socialist roots. You know, the change is now here for all to see. Diane's leadership has demonstrated to us that we don't have to accept the unjust status quo, that it is possible to fight against systems of oppression, and that together we can achieve real change. My hero, Diane Abbott, we love you.
Diane, that's just some of the videos. We've got more to come, and we're joined now by Jeremy Corbyn. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Crispin. Can you hear me all right?
I can. Diane's on the call. Do you want to say hello to Diane?
Hi, Diane. How you doing?
Hello, Jeremy.
Congratulations, 33 years MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington. What an incredible day that was in 1987. I heard what Paul Boateng was saying about it earlier, and I don't know if you remember that marvellous night we had when Hansip Publishing, Caribbean Times, Asian Times, African Times put on a big event, and you, Bernie, Keith and Paul were there. And it was an amazing celebration of your election to Parliament, but also the significance of it in terms of a breakthrough in politics in this country and forming black sections, supporting black sections. It's been my pleasure and pride to work with you during all these 33 years as my parliamentary neighbour. We share Finsbury Park together. And I just want to say absolutely thank you and congratulations. And when you were in the Shadow Cabinet as Shadow Home Secretary, I was so looking forward to you being the first black Home Secretary and all the changes that you would have brought. And seeing a programme on the other night, a couple of nights ago on television, of the reality of one person's experience of the hostile environment over Windrush, and thinking of the way that you called out Windrush for what it was at the very beginning. You spotted it before it had even happened, when Theresa May started on that horrible course of action, and what an enormous difference you would have made in the Home Office. Well, we didn't win the election, obviously, but the campaign on Black Lives Matter, the memory of George Floyd, who was killed, and his brother's testimony this afternoon to the US Congress, which I watched on Al Jazeera channel because they were carrying it live, and the whole debate about the treatment of black people in the USA, the history of black people, Staying Power, that wonderful book about black people in Britain. Now is the time for us to be promoting the history, the real history of the way in which people were dragged from Africa to the Caribbean, and then later many came to Europe in search of a sustainable living because of the poverty in the Caribbean brought about by colonialism. Now is the time for a real education process that teaches all young people the reality of colonialism, the slave trade, and the viciousness that went with it. In Parliament, you've been a voice for many cases and causes that have often been very difficult. You've had more abuse than almost all other MPs put together. You've had more hostility from the media than anyone I know. And you've stood up to it. You've stood true to your principles and true to the people that elected you there. And I love the way when you speak quite often, you quote your family, and you particularly quote your mum, who it was such a pleasure to know. And she was one of those generations that gave so much to our society and this country. And in her memory, we've got to create a much better and fairer society. And in honour of what you've done over the last 33 years, let's redouble our efforts now on bringing people together, fighting racism in all its forms, and bringing about an education process that truly does understand the historical process of where we've reached at the present time, and say goodbye to Donald Trump, Bolsonaro, and all the rest of them, and look to a better future. Diane, thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And I just wanted to say that it was such a privilege to serve in your shadow cabinet. And I think many of the policy causes that you championed will not be reversed. You will prove to have been a transformative leader of the party.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy, for coming in, and good to see you again.
Always my pleasure, Crispin.
I know you're busy, so we'll catch up with you maybe another time.
Sure. Pleasure, anytime. No worries.
Thank you. And we're very lucky tonight to have with us Shami Chakrabarti. Shami.
Hello, unmute, my favourite word. So happy 33rd parliamentary birthday, Diane, but I think it's time that all of this heliography stopped. I mean, for goodness sake. Diane this, Diane that. I was a good girl, I was, before this woman led me astray. There's so much to say, but there's so many people that want to speak. I have had the privilege to look up to somebody for many, many years and then get to know them, to work with them. You know, people on the left call each other comrades, and sometimes they call each other brother and sister. But Diane is a sister to me in both the political and personal sense. And everything that you read about her and see about her, her consistency, her solidarity, her strength, has been true, in my experience, in the personal and intimate sphere, as well as in the wider social and political sphere. And that's what it should be like. And I think that authenticity is one of the things that makes her an icon. Now, this is, there were many photographs that I thought of when I thought of the two of us. The right-wing press in particular greatly enjoy photographs of the two of us sort of bunking off very important PLP meetings to have a drink together. But this photograph means a great deal to me. Now, the funny side of it is that it became a meme, and we look like we're some sort of ITV2, cut price Cagney and Lacey, but at least a black person. But the more serious and poignant side of it, which I will never forget, is that this is Yarlswood Detention Centre. And Diane, as Shadow Home Secretary, had been writing to the then Home Secretary. There'd been so many. It was possibly Amber Rudd, one of them anyway. And she was not being admitted to see what was going on in Yarlswood. And it took us over a year to get allowed in. And we went with Belle Ribeiro-Addy, who's, of course, Diane's great protege and right-hand woman. Belle won't mind me saying that. And of course now, as part of this great onward legacy, Belle is the very fine member of Parliament for Streatham. But we went to Yarlswood Detention Centre, and the women, mostly women, but there are men there too, who are in that wretched, wretched place, a private prison for people who've never committed a crime. They were so excited and so filled with hope just because Diane was coming. The authorities, the two companies, Serco and G4S, were all aflutter, and they wanted to lay on a feast of sandwiches, etc., for Diane and her colleagues, even though many of the women were on hunger strike. And of course, Diane wasn't interested in all of that. She wanted to meet the prisoners, that's what they are, and to listen to them. And the authorities had to clear the gym because so many people wanted just to be seen and heard by Diane, wanted to write their names on pieces of paper. She gave them hope. She didn't offer them promises of immediate release. She couldn't, but she gave them hope. And, you know, hope is the thing with feathers, and hope is the thing that we hang on to in dark times. And that hope that Diane gives to you and me and Labour members and activists is also something that she offers to those people in Yarl's Wood and other detention centres and anyone suffering from oppression and inequality and injustice. And that is why she is the icon that she is. That's why she's my dear, dear friend. And we all love you very much, Diane.
Well, thank you, Shami. That's a great story. I didn't know that, and thank you for coming on the call. It's really
Pleasure.
good to see you, and I'm sorry that you're not still in the position you were before, because I think you were doing a great job there.
Cheers.
And Diane, do you have a message for Shami?
Well, Shami has been a tremendous friend, but also a tremendous fighter for civil liberties, and I've been glad to work alongside her, and I think we still have some more battles to fight. Thank you, Shami, for the very nice things she said.
Thank you, Shami. And Diane, we've got another group have asked me to share something with you, which is a speech that you made at conference. I think it was a couple of years ago. And I'm just going to play that for you now.
We will hold public inquiries into historic injustice. We will hold an inquiry into Orgreave.
And we're joined by Kate Flannery. Is there, Kate?
Yes, yeah. I'm here.
You work for the Orgreave Truth campaign. What?
I'm the secretary of the campaign, yeah.
And could you tell us what Diane's contribution has been and how she's supported?
I can. I just want to say congratulations, Diane, for 33 years sweating it out in that there parliament. But we thank you and send solidarity to you for all with your support for our campaign. You've regularly made yourself and your team available to us and discussed and consulted with us about the need for a public inquiry into the police riot at Orgreave in 1984. You listened to the miners and those directly affected by the police attacks, wrongful arrests and false prosecutions, and showed warmth and kindness to us all. You and Jeremy and the shadow leadership team, when you were Shadow Home Secretary, ensured Orgreave was part of the Labour Party policy in the manifesto, along with dealing with other working class injustices. You wrote articles in defence of the miners, highlighting the police brutality at Orgreave and throughout the miners' strike, the police occupation of mining communities and the roadblocks preventing strikers from travelling. You supported our campaign alongside dealing with other major issues of injustice, such as Hillsborough, Windrush, Grenfell, Shrewsbury, and many, many more. You stood shoulder to shoulder with us and spoke in support of us in and outside Parliament on the day in 2016 when Amber Rudd, Home Secretary, rejected an Orgreave inquiry. Your clarity in speaking against Amber Rudd's view that the police have nothing new to learn clearly resonates with the life experiences of many living in Tory Britain today. You spoke on our OTJC platform at Labour Party conference fringe meeting, and as we've all just seen in that video clip, you ensured Orgreave was mentioned and highlighted in your conference speech. You did all this for our campaign and many other campaigns against a backdrop of personal, racist, misogynistic and political attacks. The personal abuse and lies about you have never deterred you. You will always be a friend and ally for our campaign, and we will never forget your support and solidarity for us. We know that you will fight to ensure inquiries into Orgreave and other working class injustices remain firmly in the manifesto. Thank you, Diane, for all your support and solidarity, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. No justice, no peace.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. Diane, we have more videos that have come in that I've got to show you, and I'm just about to show you another one that may surprise some people, but I think it shows just how popular you are. I am just about to play it. Now,
Diane, we knew each other at school. I once gave you a screen test. You read a piece from Juliet and Romeo and Juliet, and we cast you as Lady Macduff in Macbeth. We went to Cambridge together, although we didn't know each other then. We became members of Parliament at roughly the same time. Most importantly for me, we shared a sofa on the This Week programme for about 10 years. You were the first black female Member of Parliament. You are the longest serving black Member of Parliament. These are enormous achievements. I congratulate you on 33 years as an MP. Well done.
Hi Diane! We're so pleased to be with you tonight, celebrating 33 tremendous years. You've been such an inspiration, certainly to older women like me and younger women like me. In solidarity, sister.
I want to say that I love you, even though that sounds weird, but as someone who's looked at what you've done for the last 5 years supporting Jeremy and standing up for yourself and not letting them get you down, it's just so inspiring to see, and it keeps people like me going, especially in the face of abuse. So thank you for all you've done.
Just wanted to send you a huge message of thanks and solidarity. Thanks for always being on the right side of the fight, or should I say the left side of the fight. Thank you for always standing up for women and equality in whatever shape or form that is, against some of the most horrendous abuse I've ever had the devastation to witness. Your strength and your fortitude absolutely inspires me, and congratulations on 33 years. Here's to another 33.
Hi Diane, this is Nadia Jama from Sheffield Central CLP. I just wanted to send along my congratulations on your awesome achievement. 33 years as a Member of Parliament, the first black woman to achieve that. You've been breaking records for decades. You're an absolute inspiration. Keep doing what you're doing, sister. Solidarity.
Your tenacity and spirit is a joy to behold and serves as a constant source of inspiration, not only to me as a newly elected MP, but to women up and down the country. Thank you for the incredible work that you have done for more than 3 decades in our movement, and thank you for the work that you'll do in the years ahead for our socialist cause and principles. Solidarity to you.
You've been somebody we can all rely on, somebody who's stayed strong and steadfast and brave throughout, despite what people have thrown. And you, John and Jeremy, have made the last 5 years an absolute joy to be part of the Labour Party.
Hi Diane, a couple of years ago in Newport you signed this card for me, see, the Labour Heroes one, and just want to say congratulations on being a politician for 33 years, and just keep going and stay strong. Solidarity.
Hi Diane, congratulations. We're all really proud of you and many more years in front of you.
In an era where sycophancy and selling your soul to climb the greasy pole of career politics plays out increasingly, I'd like to thank you sincerely for remaining a truly inspirational politician. A politician committed to civil liberties, human rights and equality for all. From Windrush, the Iraq War, Section 28, immigration and welfare reform, as well as everything in between, your actions have always been proven to be on the right side of history. It's comforting that you've remained true to the principles of the Labour Party and true to supporting the needs of the disenfranchised, the disadvantaged and the dispossessed. Furthermore, amid a relentless storm of misogynoir, you've remained strong and at the helm, and your support for us has never faltered. I'd simply like to wish you a happy 33rd year in Parliament and to thank you sincerely for everything you do.
Thank you, Diane Abbott.
Thank you.
Hey Diane, I've been asked to tell everybody what event I attended that you were at that has changed my political life, and I'll just say this: Diane Abbott is an event. The first female black politician and an inspiration to us all, from the times when I used to watch you on telly in my living room when you were on the politics show with Andrew Neil, and I thought, I like the sound of that, Diane Abbott. And you've never let me down. You've constantly fought for what is right. You've never been frightened to stand up for those without a voice. And if we had more MPs like you, the world would have been a far better place. So thank you for everything that you've done, the support that you've shown me and other colleagues, the way that you've looked after us like you're our mum, and the fact that you're just so absolutely amazing. So thank you, Queen Diane. Respect.
There you go, Diane. There's more to come as well. Is Belle? Are you there?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Belle. Right. So you've been very helpful in making this show work, and Diane was saying that you kept it secret for quite a while.
Yeah, until one person managed to get it across, which is hard because Diane knows everything. That's the first thing you should know about Diane. She knows absolutely everything. You can't get anything past her.
And how long were you working with Diane, and how's it been? How's your experience of Diane? We don't know what's she like to work with. And
Diane's fantastic to work with, but you know what's strange? That's the first question that everybody always asks me. Oh gosh, what's Diane like to work with?
I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know you didn't mean it like that, but a lot of people do. But working in Parliament has been the strangest thing, and I don't think if I didn't work with Diane, I probably wouldn't have had a great experience. I've seen what some of my colleagues had to go to, but Diane is truly a fantastic boss. She's always taking care of me, to the extent that if anybody would have a go at me and she found out, she would march us both over there and she would give them the telling off of their life. After the second time, I thought to myself, I don't think I should tell her anymore, because you know when your mum starts telling somebody off and you want the ground to open up and swallow you. But Diane always says, my staff work hard for me, nobody can say anything to them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And what have you learnt from Diane? Because you're quite new to being an MP. Has your education working with her, has that given you a great start? You know, with all the work, all the surgeries and.
That's. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought about doing this job. I wouldn't even be able to do this job if I hadn't learnt everything in Diane's office. I remember the first time, it was actually during Diane's leadership campaign in 2010. That I walked into Parliament with Diane. You know, I was quite young, I was quite excited. I was a big fan. This is Diane. I'm walking into Parliament with Diane. And I remember we went to, Diane went through security with her pass, and she waited for me to come through. And then a police officer just zoomed right across and came up to her and said, "Can I see your ID?" And she very, very calmly took it out and showed it to him. And then he said, "What about her?" pointing to me. And she said, "She's with me." Showed my visitor's pass. And we walked quietly over to the lift. And I said to her, "Does that happen often?" Well, she said, "More often than you might think." And I remember that time because I remember thinking to myself, or it came back to me rather, when Diane became the Shadow Home Secretary, the first black woman to hold one of the 4 great offices of state. And I thought to myself, I wonder if he's still around, and I wonder what he's thinking now. This woman that he stopped in her place of work, and by then she'd been working there for 25 years. What he might think, and obviously it was everything to be able to see that moment, to be able to see Diane rise to that level, to be such an inspiration, and also just to rise to that level and stay true to her principles. I'm just thinking about all the policies we put forward. We never once wavered. She wasn't having any of it. And I just think to myself, Diane is going to be such an inspiration for generations to come. And I really hate it when you think of all of the great people that go past in history, that people often wait until, you know, long after they've been involved in stuff for them to properly acknowledge it. So this event, I think, is really amazing. I love the fact that, you know, Diane is still an MP. She's still fighting for her constituents. She's still fighting for people all across the country, but people have stopped and taken the time to recognise her now, because she is absolutely amazing. Do you know what her legacy is? The Labour Party's intake this year in 2019 of new MPs, 50% of them came from the BAME community. That is Diane's legacy, and not you know, and a lot of them are like me in terms of politics. They're very, very much like me. So that is amazing. I think that's something that we can all be very, very proud of.
Thank you, and thank you, Belle, for coming on, and thank you, because I know
No,
you've
not
been
at
busy
all.
with other things, but for helping to organise this.
Yeah, I didn't have time to be able to make a video, because actually I was complaining to Diane yesterday about stuff on the phone until late. But no, it's been great. Thank you so much, Diane, for everything. I wouldn't have even, well, actually, you did say that I should be an MP, and I thought you were mad. But now that I am one, I realise that the only way I know how to be an MP is the way that you've taught me. And in that, I have confidence in myself. So thank you so much, Diane. Love you. Bye.
Do you have a message for Belle, Diane?
I'm so proud of Belle. I saw years before she could see it, what a brilliant MP she would make. And I think the people of Streatham are very lucky indeed.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Belle. Diane, we have some more clips for you from people who've sent in videos. And I am going to play next clips now.
So Diane, I want to say thank you for being the first. There always needs to be the first, and I want to say thank you for that. And for 33 years you've been in Parliament, and you've put up with an awful lot of shit in Parliament, and I don't know how you've actually done it and kept your cool as much as you have. So we owe you a great debt of gratitude for that. And actually everybody who's got away with the shit that they might have said to you, they owe you a great debt of gratitude too. So as we see more black MPs come through the doors of Parliament, as we try and break down the structural and systematic barriers that exist, I hope that the pathway has been laid. And so thank you for everything that you have done, and may you continue to be dignified in your stance. Thank you.
I want you to keep going forever, because I feel it would be like the Tower of London and the Ravens if the House of Commons was missing a Diane Abbott. If she flew away, the whole thing would fall apart. So look, at a time when we're talking about getting rid of statues of the bad old guys, from me and this very good guy, Tony Benn, your good friend and mine, I want to say, Diane Abbott, happy first 33 years in Parliament. May there be many, many more.
Diane's tenure as a politician is something that we should all celebrate. She's broken so many barriers for ordinary people, for black women, for working class people, and she's consistently used her power to speak up for our communities, and she's never sold out. So thank you, Diane. Thank you for everything you've done for us, for inspiring us all, and for continuing to speak up for us.
Thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. You've been an inspiration to me since I joined the party when I was 16. You've endured the most horrendous abuse throughout your life, and still you show the dignity and resilience I doubt few of us have. If ever you fancy a trip to North Wales, give us a call. We'd be honoured to host you in Clwyd South. You'll always be welcome here. Thank you, Diane.
We're all councillors from Brighton Hove City Council, wishing you the warmest of congratulations on reaching the incredible milestone this week of 33 years in Parliament.
Now, we know you've endured a lot of abuse
from the media and other quarters. But we're all incredibly proud of you and your long service to the Labour Party and to the country.
And I remember it well when you was elected to, you know, the first black woman MP for Hackney, and how radical and how great this was. I mean, 33 years ago, and I still remember it clearly. And, you know, your loyalty to John, to Jeremy, and to the left of the party, and your voting history, and your resilience, your emotional resilience are all things I really, really admire in you. Well done.
And some of us met you last spring when you spent a day in Brighton helping us. You came to my ward actually and helped us campaign in the local elections. And although we're a minority administration, we did become the first party in decades to win a second term in office in the city. So thanks very much for the part you played in that.
And of course, none of us can actually meet you in person at this time as the pubs aren't even open. But if we could, and when we can, we would love to buy you a celebratory mojito or even 3.
Here's to many more extraordinary years representing your constituents. Solidarity. Solidarity.
Hi Diane, happy 33rd anniversary in Parliament. I'm Jim Monahan, I'm a poet from Glasgow, and I'm also the organiser of the Roots Rock Reggae Against Racism campaign. 3 years ago we organised the 40th anniversary concert for Rock Against Racism with Aswad and Misty and Roots, Jeremy Corbyn opening the festival for us, and it reminded me of my days as a young man in London in the 1980s. And in those days, you, Bernie and others were a real inspiration to young socialist activists across the city. I campaigned for you to be the candidate in 1985 in Brent East, and I remember marching with you and many others to protest the death of Colin Roach, a young man killed in police custody in 1983. I was back home in Scotland in 1987 when you were elected to Parliament, and it was a fine and proud moment indeed. You've been a real inspiration in that place over the years. And not just in the early days, all the way through your opposition to the various acts from various governments against immigration, the Prevention of Terrorism Acts and the Prevent Strategy, ID cards, etc. And I just want to thank you. I've been lucky enough to have worked as a community organiser for Labour last year, and it would have been a fantastic moment in history had you become the Home Secretary. Sadly that wasn't to be, but I was very, very proud of what we achieved and how we changed the Labour Party in that time. So again, I just want to thank you. You're a real inspiration, a true socialist and a great campaigner, and thank you for everything you've done.
Hey, we're all here to show Diane some love. 33 revolutions of our system's son. 33 revolutions since this battle of yours was won. Although you spoke up loudly, this was not an easy ride. But you always strode out proudly, and you never chose to hide in a fridge. 33 revolutions since your parliamentary career was begun. 33 revolutions since our first honourable black daughter was joined by 3 black sons. But you know what? I'll celebrate even harder in 4 months, because I've heard traditionally a long player spins at 33 1/3. Congratulations, Diane, on reaching yet another milestone. Thank you for your persistence and your resilience. You have been and continue to be an inspiration to black people and black women everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you are, Diane. Another, and more. There's more to come. There's more to come. But also, we've got online. We've got John McDonnell. Is that the John McDonnell, or is there another John McDonnell?
It's me.
It's John. Right. So, have you got a memory of Diane, or a message for Diane, or how would you like to contribute to this celebration of her 33rd anniversary?
I went offline because I was having my supper, I'm afraid, and I didn't want to see you lot seeing me eating. Look, I've had 40 years of Diane and Jeremy. It's pushed me over the edge, to be honest. I've had 40 years of Jeremy being late for every meeting we've ever held. That's right, Diane, isn't it? Every meeting.
Yes.
Never on time, okay? I've had nearly 40 years of Diane never sticking to an agenda, always identifying the important issues, and bloody hell, always being right as well. It's driven me a distraction at times, really. Diane's been the best comrade you could have asked for. In every struggle that we've been in, whether it's been in Parliament or outside of Parliament, she's been alongside us all. Anyone who's ever asked for solidarity, she's always given it. And all through that, she's borne the brunt of attacks, vicious, personal, appalling abuse that none of us have experienced on that scale. And all through it, she's defeated them by coming through it stronger. And I just think, you look at, she's been the inspiration for a whole generation now of young black women in particular, but also young women overall. Actually, she's been an inspiration to, I just think, the whole movement, really. There hasn't been an issue when, if you look at some of the key votes in Parliament over the 33 years when she's been there, there hasn't been a single vote when she's been on the wrong side. She's always voted the right way, and she's always done it as a matter of principle, but often done it almost in isolation. There's been times when there's been only a small few of us that have marched through those lobbies, that have endured some of the abuse as a result of that, but actually as a result, I've always been able to hold our heads up high, and Diane's been there on every occasion. Sometimes, you know, and I'll tell you a secret, when you're rushing into Parliament and there's a vote going on, sometimes you're never completely sure what the vote's about. So the best thing that I do, I always look for Diane and Jeremy and make sure they're in the same lobby, and I know I'll never go wrong. And that's exactly the sort of, I suppose, combination of commitment and loyalty, really, to the cause that we all serve, that Diane has showed over the years. You know, I don't know whether someone else has said this, because I've been at other meetings this evening, but, you know, we're pulling down statues at the moment. There'll be a few vacant plinths. Well, why not? Let's have a statue to the first black woman in Parliament. Eh? Why not do that? Because it's a celebration, not about, Diane knows what I mean by this, it's a celebration not just of the individual, but what she stands for and has stood for in the face of some tough adversity. And that takes courage and guts. I'm just proud to be a friend and associated with her. And as I've said, this will go on. There's many more years yet of campaigning and struggle. And in this coming months, it is going to get tough after the pandemic, when they come back possibly for more austerity, or where they try and make working people pay for the recession that's hitting us already. And that's when we'll need Diane Abbott at the forefront again. And she'll be there. Every demonstration, every occupation, every picket line, every debate in Parliament when needed, Diane Abbott will be there. That's why we don't just respect her, we love her. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. That's really moving.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And I love the idea of a statue as well. We'll have to start that campaign up. And I'm pleased also that we've been joined by a former staffer of yours, who's also a councillor, Adam Jogee. You there, Adam?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you, Adam.
Hello. Well, this is great to see you, Diane, and well done to everyone for organising this. I was in my height of working for you at your 25th anniversary, which I think that was 8 years ago, is mad. And Dan, you might say don't look a day different, but then they often say black don't crack. Look, I've got one brilliant story to share. Everyone asks about what it was like working for Diane, and she was, without question, the best boss I've ever had. I probably shouldn't say that because my current boss is Labour MP too, but the only time Diane ever told me off, the only time she didn't have my back, was when it was the launch of the new all-party parliamentary group on Jamaica, and she knows I'm going to go with this. And she was going on TV that evening, talk about something really important, and we had a rum punch party, and Dan had one, maybe two, and well, we all know what it's like to have a taste of Jamaican drinks, and I thought the only way to make sure that we didn't have any trouble on Channel 4 that evening was to water the rum punch down. I got busted, and the only time, as I say, Dan ever shouted at me was for watering the rum punch down. So I can testify working for her was a pleasure and an honour. I guess the really important thing I want to say, though, is we've seen all the demonstrations and the movement in recent days about Black Lives Matter. The fact that the black woman ever be elected out.
Oh, your signal's gone. Your signal's gone, Adam. I shouldn't have asked you to speak while you're driving. It's not a good idea. I don't think he's driving, but maybe we can get him back. We'll try and get him back later. I've just seen we've got another colleague of yours who's come to say hello. Is Ian Lavery. Are you there, Ian?
Yeah. How are you, Crispin?
I'm good. Good to see you again. Have you got a story or message for Diane for her 33rd anniversary?
I've got a message for Diane, and it's great to hear the fantastic tributes to Diane. Every single one is well deserved. My history is in the mining industry. A lefty from leaving school, and even in right up here in the northeast in the wilds, we always held Diane Abbott at the very top of the tree, by the way, with regard to left-wing politics, and we always admired the way that Diane operated. And I think it's been mentioned by John and others, the abuse that Diane's received is just unbelievable, and the way she deals with it is even more unbelievable. But we always hailed Diane with the highest of esteem. She was always there when there was any left-wing struggles behind the NUM with the trade union movement, as well as other struggles up and down the country. But I've got to say, we didn't have words, but we had huge differences in the Shadow Cabinet on very few issues, by the way. But let me tell you, that isn't a person around, there wasn't a person around that Shadow Cabinet table, which I was privileged to be part of, that had that commitment to the cause, commitment to Jeremy, the loyalty to the members, unswerving loyalty to the members of the party. That was always the common denominator with Diane Abbott's politics, is loyalty to the membership on every issue, what the members would think, what the members would say. But I just think it's great, it's really fitting, that people are coming in here and explaining their views and passing on best wishes and solidarity to Diane. Diane, I think the world of you always have had. I don't think there's a person I can think of who has been more dedicated to the socialist struggle than yourself and has received so much abuse. All the very best, Diane. I hope to see you when I get away from this madhouse. I hope you have a great night. You're a hero of mine, and you'll always be a hero of mine.
Thank you very much, Ian. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
And Diane, there is another aspect of what you've been doing in the past is your work for the peace movement, for the anti-war movement, and we've got another video for you that relates to that. Well, it starts off with that anyway.
I'd like to say in particular, thank you very much for all the work that you've done over the years, campaigning against war and for peace. It's been a very important thing. We have few enough MPs in Parliament who are principled and clear-headed on these kind of on these kinds of issues. So we're very glad that you've played this role, and it's very important. And of course, the other area, which is so important, is the area of campaigning against racism. You've had to overcome all sorts of barriers of racism yourself, but that hasn't in any way stopped you from continuing to campaign over this issue for other people. And I think for all of us, we live in these amazing historic times, these huge demonstrations in the US and here and around the world in support of Black Lives Matter, and those are tremendously inspirational, I think, to us all. But we also, I think, understand that the fight against racism is a permanent fight, that we live in this rotten society which helps to breed racism, which encourages racism, and to have people like you standing up very publicly and campaigning against it is so important. So please continue to do that. I hope for many years to come, and enjoy the evening, and good luck for the future.
You've been an amazing parliamentarian, amazing person against great adversity all these years. And I just want to say, I'm sure Bernie Grant, Tony Benn, lots of other people who can't be with us will be wishing you fabulous time, many, many more years with you. Black Lives Matter, you matter.
I'm very aware of the abuse that you've had to endure over the years, and I'm amazed at the dignified way that you've handled it. Only yesterday, as I was driving, I heard you on Radio 4, and despite some very probing questions that I have to say a lesser person would have reacted to, you responded in a very measured and dignified way and still got your message across. Well done. Solidarity, Diane. Solidarity.
I'm one of the newer members who joined up when Jeremy became the leader in 2015. So since then, I've obviously seen what you've had to go through. I knew about you before, but I wasn't acutely aware of the day-to-day things you had to do and what you had to endure personally. So I'm proud to be here to congratulate you and say happy anniversary. All my love to you. I know my comrades from Plymouth Moorview CLP have asked me to send their best wishes to you as well.
Like many women, many black women, many people in the UK and around the world have just been so moved by your political skills, your political acumen, your way of communicating the most difficult and challenging issues in our society and in our world. You've done that with a grace, you've done that with a fearlessness, and you've done that at huge personal cost to yourself. You inspire so many. You're not just a politician, but you are an icon. And I just remember first getting the role with working for Jeremy as head of international policy. Most of my friends were more excited by the fact that I might get the opportunity to meet with you and have coffee with you and have drinks with you, of which we were able to do that so much in my time working in the leader's office under Jeremy. And
Diane, 33 years as an MP, 33 years, but we go back even longer than that. We've been protesting, marching and chanting together on demonstrations long before you were an MP. Back then, we were desperate for representation, and my sister, you stepped up. You've been a passionate, principled freedom fighter, and you've been a great example not only to black women, but to all of us. And look at us now. Sadly, we need you even more. There is more work to do. But right now, I just want to thank you for all that you've done over the years. Now, I don't want to get too personal, but I have to say, after all the demonstrating and protesting and campaigning we did in the 70s and the 80s and even into the 90s, I just want to say, it's about time we dance together. We've got too much for a Rasta man to ask for. Diane, peace. I love you, sister.
Thank you.
That's
lovely, Benjamin. Really lovely.
I was really pleased to get that clip in at the end there. Now we've got comedians here who would like to try and make you laugh. Are you up for a laugh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'll try. Our first comedian for tonight, who's going to try and make you laugh, is Don Biswas. Are you there, Don?
Hello, Crispin. Hello, Diane. Congratulations on 33 years as a politician. I'd like to start tonight with topical news and talk about racist historical figures and statues. And it got me thinking, do you think if Hitler was alive today, that he could challenge Churchill to cheaper car insurance? Oh, no. As we know from this debate also, we know racism exists. But having said that, Crispin, the easiest job I ever had was working for the British National Party. Every day I would turn up at work and my boss would say, go home. So I did. We're here to celebrate Diane Abbott. And I think one of the greatest things she's achieved, Diane, you've achieved, is your voting record. You've always stood on the right side of history. Even as Shadow Home Secretary, you stood up for the Windrush generation and refugees. As well as your Tory counterpart, Priti Patel, in my mind, and just my opinion, is so racist that one day as Home Secretary, she'll end up deporting herself. Also, you were against privatisation, which has decimated our railway system. As a result, your friend Michael Portillo's new documentary is called Michael Portillo, Great British Rail Replacement Bus Service Journeys. And unlike a lot of MPs, Diane Abbott, you have won awards as well. In 2008, you won an award for you won the Spectator Award for Parliamentary Speech of the Year on your speech on civil liberties and counter-terrorism. While at the same time, Tony Blair and his cronies were doing the opposite, trying to introduce control orders. Now, who remembers them control orders where were severe restrictions on the movement of suspected criminals, curfews, and a ban on who they can and cannot see. Now, as everyone knows out there, a lot of people, I still live with my overbearing Indian mother. So I've been under control order for 37 years. Absolutely horrific. And I just want to say this, like, congratulations. And the reason why that is you've been put up with a lot of abuse, a lot of racism, misogyny, and so forth. You've been tested more times by this right-wing press than frontline workers have for the coronavirus under Boris Johnson's government. We salute you. Thanks very much.
Nice one, Don. Good start. Good start, Don. And we've now, I've got Jason Patterson on, and he did a show. We did a stand-up for Labour show before the 2015 general election. It was in a Caribbean restaurant in Camden. I remember you came to it, and I don't think during that show Jason was comparing, and he didn't know who Jeremy Corbyn was. He said something like, "Excuse me, mate, do you mind? I'm trying to." It was quite funny, anyway. So I'm trying to introduce you like that, Jason. But how are you doing? Your mum's a fan of Diane Abbott, you were telling me.
Yes, I mean, like I said, I don't really have jokes or anything. I just want to join the celebration. My mum met Diane Abbott when Diane was a local councillor back in the, I think, the early 90s or something. She had my mum used to run the bar and restaurant at Balham Leisure Centre, and Diane had a meeting with an activist, and my mum done the food. So that's my mum's claim to fame. She met Diane before she became this legendary woman. And I was speaking to my mum. I said, "Mum, would you like me to say anything to Diane?" So Diane, all my mum wants to know is, did you like the food? Because that's all she cares about. Never mind all the stuff that you've done over in 33 years. The sandwiches were made by my mum, just if you remember that. So yeah, to see a strong black woman, I grew up with one in my house. It's been great to see one in Parliament as well. I salute you, always in your corner. And right now, with everything that's going on in the world, I think it's appropriate that we celebrate strong black women, especially what's been going on with America. It seems to be a negative, even though the change that's going to come on the back of it is going to be amazing. I think right now is a great time to celebrate yourself. I was at the march at Battersea, at the US Embassy in Battersea the other day. And I just want to say that some people are a little bit out of date with what they're protesting for. I saw 3 Mandela signs at this march. I was like, come on, dude. I was talking to the guy. I said, Mandela's free. He said, okay, my job's done. And then he went home. So, yeah. But I just want to say, I don't really have any jokes. Just well done, Diane. 33 years. You are, legend is used too often. Icon and legend is 2 words used too often. And yes, you are definitely both of those. And I will be able to tell my grandkids one day, I spoke to this woman via Zoom. So congratulations. Happy 33 years. And yeah, good health and well done. Keep up the fight, sister. Keep it up.
and thank you, Jason. And we got Patrick Monahan. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, good. Thanks, Crispin. Hello, Diane. How are you doing?
Hello.
You good? Now listen, Diane. Now look, I know everyone's been saying this, but you don't realise how great an achievement this is. Right? I was just having a look around at this before, but do you know, for someone, it's very unusual for someone to stay in the same job for 33 years. That commitment. Most people do 10 jobs in 33 years, right? That is ridiculous, right? Most people will either, after about a couple of years, the first year, they last it, then about 7 years to 10 is the longest. What is your secret? Because there's a lot of people here, like me in the Northeast, who are just struggling to get one job. I mean, what is your secret that has kept you going for 33 years?
Well, I've just taken it a year at a time.
Good.
I mean, if you told me at the beginning I'd be doing it for 33 years,
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
Well, you've done what, listen, we are, and what John McDonnell said was right about the statues. We're going to have a collection at the end of this, and we're going to get a statue put up for you. Are you up for that? So everyone's going to put in a couple £100. We'll send it to Crispin. We'll get the statue done. One of the, I don't know if you remember this, but I met you briefly. It was show racism, the red card. Do you remember where it was about kicking racism out of sport? And it was out of football. And not many people will know this. I'm going to share this secret. But Diane is actually a very good footballer. You're absolutely fantastic. But I'm going to say this. This might upset people, Diane, but she's filthy tackler. She was. I've never seen anyone deck someone from the back. It was unbelievable running around the pitch. Now, I'm going to just do a couple of quick things here, because a lot of people have mentioned when you started your career in the 80s, it was a huge time. But people don't realise that your career has outspanned many people. Look at Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, you've got Jimi Hendrix, 27 years. You've done 33 years, right? Nigel Farage, you've beaten him by 33 years, right? Even he hasn't done 30. He hasn't done 0 years. Then we're going to look at what happened. Your career spanned, right, and you probably know this, but everyone needs to know how influential this is. Your career started, right, and it started from the beginning, from when the Berlin Wall came down. A lot of people on here will be too young for this, but they won't remember when David Hasselhoff sang at that wall, and they won't remember this, but if they look at the YouTube footage, they'll see me and Diane at the back singing along, dancing. It was an absolutely fantastic time. And then if you skip forward to what's happened this week, Diane, and we're here now where we're watching these statues which are being ripped down. Obviously, people forgot to contact David Hasselhoff to sing. That was probably more of a deliberate thing. And one of the things, and Don mentioned it as well, and also James, everyone we've been talking about, where I went to the marches last week, and what was shocking this week was where there's been a public outcry, right, from people, particularly from the right-wing groups, about these racist slave owner statues have been ripped down. And it's ridiculous, isn't it, Dan? When you think about it, and even people from the extreme right wing, some of the people like Boris Johnson and Priti Patel have mentioned this, where they were saying that the public should not be carrying out these actions. And then even today, I think, and it was yesterday, they criticised the police in Bristol about it. And the head of the police was actually there when the statue was being pulled down. Even he thought it was a good idea. When the protesters were doing it, he turned his back, let them carry on. He got in his car, the rope was tied to the statue, even he drove his police car off, helping the statue come off. That's exactly how everyone should be doing it, like this. And I thought that, you know, we're looking at a time where we need people like you that are standing up for this thing, for these movements, and standing up for this, where there's too many people getting the wrong airtime. You look at it, at the right-wing people on here, like they were talking to Dominic Cummings about this, about whether people in Britain should take down the statues. And he was saying, it's awful. They did a press conference with him in his house. He was stood next to his Enoch Powell statue and his Donald Trump fountain. And these... So listen, I just want to say that, look, you've smashed it out the park for 33 years. On behalf of everyone, you get the keys to Stoke Newington, you get the keys to Hackney, you get the keys to Middlesbrough. I know you probably don't want Middlesbrough, but you're going to have it. Keys to Whitley in Oxford, where Crispin lives, and it's an open house. So Diane, we'll see you soon, and well done. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And finally, from the comedians, we've got Suzy in Plymouth. Suzy?
Hello.
Have you got a message for Diane?
Yeah, I got confused again and I spent 20 minutes researching Russ Abbott, but I've thrown that away now. I did the same thing last week with Ken Loach and Bill Roach. So hi Diane, it's an absolute honour to talk to you. Yeah, I'm from Plymouth. You won't have heard of me, but I did recently appear in the Evening Herald and I was listed as one of the 50 coolest people from Plymouth. I'd like to go on about it, but I did make myself a little rosette just to... I've got a sash and a crown as well, but you know, I won't go on too long because normally Crispin puts me at the end and cuts me off. Halfway through my Agadoo routine the other week, he cut me off, which I thought was quite rude. But yeah, I was trying to think, what was I doing in 1987 when you were starting to blaze your trail? I was actually, in 1987, I was watching Madonna in her Who's That Girl tour in Wembley as an 11-year-old. And so we've gone from the queen of pop, you're the queen of politics, you're an amazing, strong woman. I've got no job at the moment, there's no gig, so I've got things to do to try and make money. And I've actually taken a leaf out of your book because I'm not sure if you're aware, Diane, but you have become an influencer. I'm not sure if you know about the young people today. They're influencers, so they kind of they go online and they influence. I mean, I've not been doing very well. I was spotted in Evening in a pasty and they didn't sell out. But that really clever marketing campaign for Marks and Spencer's, I thought, she knows what she's doing because those mojitos, they sold out around the country in a day. So I thought, you know, I need to take some tips from you. And what I've done is I've made my own sort of, this is a prototype, but I'm going to bring out my own range of bottles to take on public transport. So I'm hoping this will catch on. So I'll be on the, no one will bother me on the tube if I'm drinking this. I don't know if you you want to get one as well. I feel my screen went blank. I see Patrick Monahan smiling at me. I haven't seen Diane. Has she gone to the loo? Yeah, like I said, I won't keep you long, but you know, just be a bit more discreet next time and buy one of my bottles. That'll be cool. But yeah, so I think that's all I have to say. You're absolutely brilliant, and I hope you're enjoying all the love and respect that's being thrown your way tonight. It must be overwhelming. But yeah, I think you're wonderful. I follow you on Twitter, and I've learned a lot this week, and I'm still listening and learning. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you very much, and I'll have to get one of your bottles.
Thank you, Suzy. We're lucky we've been joined by Richard Burgon. Are you there, Richard?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Have you got a message for Diane on her 33rd anniversary?
Of course. I mean, I was interested to hear that Diane was a dirty football player. If that's the case, then she could have had an alternative career playing for Leeds United, of course, in that team that was notorious for fouling, etc. I'm very surprised to hear about it, but it's a real pleasure to be with you all to celebrate Diane's pioneering, inspiring time as a Member of Parliament so far. 33 years is no mean feat whatsoever. Now, Diane has to do at least another 17 years, because I think it would be a great shame if she didn't make it to half a century as the Member of Parliament for Hackney. And it's not often that you can be friends with somebody and comrades with someone who themselves made history. And although it may seem very strange to young members these days, Diane Abbott was the first black woman elected to Parliament. And now that seems really strange to us because, of course, we know how much racism still scars our political system and our society. But the idea of a world where there'd be no black women MPs, to many of us younger members, seems something very, very strange. But Diane was an inspiration to me before I was a member of Parliament and remains an inspiration to me now I'm a member of Parliament. She's truly fearless, anti-racist, anti-imperialist, anti-war internationalist, socialist, never afraid to speak the truth to power, never afraid to stand almost alone. There are many important issues that Diane has spoken out about over the years that now everyone associates themselves with. But when Diane started speaking out about them, there were very few people at all willing to associate with those campaigns, with those ideas. Let's just remember, for example, the scandal of the way that the Windrush citizens have been treated. It was a very small number of members of Parliament, around about 14 or so, I think Dan will correct me if I'm wrong, 12 or 14, that voted against that immigration bill. Diane Abbott was one of them. She's never sought popularity, but she's got it because she deserves it. Because people know that there are people in her constituency and across the country whose lives have been made better by the very fact that Diane became an MP in 1987 and by the very fact she's done all the things she's done since then. Every MP, virtually, helps people in their constituency with casework. But very few MPs can say that they themselves were a trailblazer who, by the very fact of becoming an MP, changed lives the length and breadth of the country. And I'm also certain that people in other countries, when they heard the news that the first ever black MP had been elected in the UK Parliament, themselves will have been inspired. And who can imagine, because we can't put a figure on it, how many hundreds of thousands of people around the world are now activists because of Diane Abbott? How many hundreds of thousands of lives have been changed? How many hundreds of thousands of people have become involved in politics because of Diane's inspiration? So I'm proud to be Diane's comrade and friend. I'm proud that she's advised me since I became a member of Parliament for the first time in 2015. She's even more straight talking in real life than she's on TV, which will surprise and shock people. If she thinks it, she'll say it. There's no holding back whatsoever, but she's the best kind of comrade. And I'm so delighted that everyone's come together tonight to celebrate her achievements so far. And obviously it breaks people's hearts when they read the abuse that Diane has received. It's appalling, it's unacceptable. It was a huge proportion of the abuse received by any MP. I believe it was about half of the abuse received online by all MPs was received by Diane. There are two reasons, not to be presumptuous, there are two reasons why Diane has received that appalling abuse. One, because she's a black woman, but also because of her socialist anti-establishment politics. And I think the level of hatred towards Diane by those people who don't want society to change for the better, by those people whose politics is fueled by hate, is trumped by the admiration and love that so many progressives in this country and around the world have for Diane. We love you very much. Thanks very much, Diane. You've got to do at least another 17 years. At least another 17 years.
Thank you very much, Richard. You've been a fantastic comrade.
Thank you, Richard. Fulham will hopefully beat Leeds, by the way. That's a dream. Anyway, Lloyd, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Lloyd, have you got a message for Diane? Thank you for waiting online. I've only just been told you were there. Sorry to keep.
No, it's been more than a delight to listen to the amazing tributes of and for Diane from not only her colleagues but activists and people around Britain. And I think that's why so many people do look up to Diane, because she has been around not only for 33 years leading the charge, but for many of us of my generation, as already has been mentioned, when there was no real voice for the left in kind of wider politics. Diane appearing on that, of course, that weekly politics show with those ghastly right-wing men that she had to surround herself with, showed that if she could do it, then we had to stand up and suffer and speak out as well. So I think that that was really important for many people around Britain, and coming to Parliament and working with Diane has been an absolute joy as well. And Richard's right, she speaks her mind, and you know when Diane is about to speak, whether it be at the campaign group or at another meeting, that it's a moment to sit up and listen, because she's going to put her finger on the absolute point. When I first joined Parliament, I employed a staff member that Diane had employed previously in international development. And at the beginning, it was really irritating. He would keep saying, well, Diane would just do this, and Diane would just say this, and why don't you just get on with it, Lloyd? And initially, my reaction always when someone tells me what to do is to resist and do the opposite. But actually, if I did what Diane did, I usually got it right. And I learnt very quickly that that's what I had to do.
That's lovely. I didn't know that.
Thank you, Lloyd. Now we may have time. Sabby, are you there?
I am indeed. Thank you.
From Stand Up to Racism.
Yeah, thank you, Crispin.
Would you like to pass on a message to Diane?
I would indeed. Well, I mean, what a great moment to remember your unwavering commitment to fighting racism, fighting injustice, and for better immigration rights. I think you were the original Black Lives Matter campaigner. I remember back in 2002 when I was a coordinator at the National Assembly Against Racism, and you were chair then. It was a few months after 9/11, and it was a time when we were beginning to see some of the Islamophobia that unfortunately I think we've become very familiar with now. And at that time, it was really difficult to campaign for immigration rights, because immigration was becoming equated with terrorism. So it was really difficult, but you insisted that we had to mount a campaign against that Immigration and Asylum Act of 2002 under the Blair government. And I must say, I've really enjoyed working with you recently, because, you know, you were up until recently Shadow Home Secretary, but there was no messing about. You know, you just went straight in there campaigning during this COVID crisis, campaigning against the disproportionate impact of COVID on Black communities, and for a public inquiry along with Stand Up to Racism. But I think the highlight of your career has got to be, as Richard and others have just said, your heroic campaign to fight for justice for the Windrush generation, and forcing the resignation of the then Tory Home Secretary Amber Rudd. That was just absolutely fantastic. And I think the video that we all saw when you first became an MP back in 1987, and in your acceptance speech, you asked a question, and I think in answer to your question, I think you have fulfilled our hopes, because I've been speaking to some of the young activists involved in the Black Lives Matter movement, and they've got utmost respect for you, Diane. You are, you know, their queen, Auntie Diane. They love you. So I look forward to the unveiling of the Diane Abbott statue. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabby. And Anna Rothery from Liverpool has come online. and she's got to say something to you. Are you there, Anna?
Hello, Diane. I'm so sorry. I've been hanging on the line for quite some time, but I just really would like to say congratulations, Diane. 33 years, it's momentous. What can I say? But I'd just like to recall the story, really, because I came to London to see you in Parliament when I hadn't been elected very long, so it was around about 2010. And I was quite young and naive, shall we say. And we come from Liverpool and we're always fighting. And I remember coming to meet you, and I was really, really adamant that we needed to do more in terms of black representation, certainly in Liverpool, because in Liverpool, we are way behind the game in terms of black representation. And you said to me, it's all about the timing, and the timing's not right. And I always pondered on that, because that was a very, very valuable lesson for me. Because in the years since then, since I met with you, and observing and seeing the struggles that black women go through, it is precisely about the timing. And I think that made me a better politician, because it taught me that sometimes it's not about the high energy things and, the presence. It's about the ability to be able to burrow away and be consistent and be tenacious, and to make sure that when you get it right, you get it completely right. So there's no way that you can go backwards. You can only go forwards. And so I think for me, to be able to be here and to show the admiration and, the love that I feel for you as a black sister. Oh, I think you've lost me.
No, we've got you
over there. As a black sister. And, I'm not young enough to be calling you mum or aunt, but I will call you a big sister. And I think the fact that you stayed there and you've been persistent and consistent all of these years and never faltered, I never stepped away from the real truth. And you've always opened the door to bring people in behind you. And that's an integral part of what we do as black women. We must lift our little sisters up, and we must make sure that we maintain our big sisters and keep you at those crucial positions, because you are a trailblazer. And that word is too often used now. A trailblazer for me is somebody who's been effaced, and you've certainly been effaced. But the other thing is that you certainly will not be the last, because you've opened the doors and you've kept them ajar, and you've brought our little sisters through. So congratulations for 33 years, and I hope you continue in the same vein. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it is so important to lift up other women. So
true, so true. Where would we be without our little sisters? It makes it all worthwhile. I think the slanderous comments that are made and the vile racism, we take that energy, which is pure negativity, and we turn it into positivity, because we know we've got little sisters looking towards us for us to guide the way. And you've certainly done that.
Thank you, Anna. And a surprise for you, Diane, we've got Delroy, who used to work with you many years ago. I will unmute you, Delroy. Are you there?
Hi, hello, everybody. It's a surprise for me as well, I must tell you. I worked for Diane, gosh, in the 90s, when there wasn't a Labour government, and we were fighting for a Labour government. And I was lucky enough to get a job working for Diane, but what she didn't know is when I travelled down from Wolverhampton, where I'm from, the Midlands, I'd written to her. She hadn't responded. 2 other MPs had responded and said, yes, come in and have an interview. And at that point, by the way, there was no minimum wage, there was no living wage, it was just all for free. And I followed Diane to Hackney Council, and I saw her, and I was desperate to go over and say, hello, Diane, give me an interview, Diane, I want to come work for you. That when she did turn around, and you saw her, the woman who'd been on TV but you'd never met, but you wanted to meet. I was completely lost for words. Completely lost for words. So it was, but for me, luckily for me, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later that I was called in for interview. And it was her and her wonderful assistant at the time, Deborah. And they asked me all sorts of wonderful questions. You know, like, do you dress yourself in the morning? No, I joke. But it was very much a great interview, because it got me to understand that Diane Abbott on television was a wonderful person, but Diane Abbott in person was an even better person. Because in that interview, when you're nervous, you've just travelled down from the Midlands, you're in the big smoke, you don't know what to expect. She made me feel at ease. She told me that, you know, if you come and work in this office, I have to tell you, you've heard other stories about MPs sleeping with their assistants. That won't be happening in here. So she was very clear to me about what my responsibilities would be. You'd be working 9 to 5, but that would be Monday through to Saturday. And you'd be working very hard, because we need a Labour government, because without a Labour government, we can't achieve the things we want to achieve. So for me, to go from then to now and watch Diane, and some of you won't know, but actually many of you will. She was on the Treasury. I mean, yes, she was Shadow Public Health and Shadow Home Secretary, but the wonderful work she did on the Treasury Select Committee, building her brand for detail and forensic questioning, was unbelievable. I mean, the chair at the time was Charles Radici. Without Diane, that committee wouldn't have done what it did. The work she done, working on the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, again, was second to none. So I think Diane has always, for me anyway, been the perfect mentor, the perfect boss, and, you know, someone I've admired, and hard to believe Diane, it's 33 years. You've been in Parliament 33 years. You've outlived, sadly, in many ways, Bernie Grant. You've been there longer than Tony Banks, who was on the same floor. The great Tony Banks. You've outlived Paul Boateng, who was on earlier, in terms of Parliament, in terms of your MP career. So you're still there and you're still standing. And I think for everyone on this call and this Zoom, I think you need to appreciate there is only one Diane Abbott. She will never, ever be replicated. This is history in the making. She will go down as the first black MP, yes, but she will actually go down, as far as I'm concerned, as the woman who set the heartbeat for Black Lives Matter. She used to lead a project called Black Men in Crisis, and at the time she was looked at as doing down black men, when all she was doing was saying, look, the numbers for black men in the mental health system, in prisons and in education was rotten to the core, and something needed to be done. And every which way she turned, often up against men, often up against black men as well as white middle-aged men, she kept going, she kept going, and she kept going. And I say to you all now that when you look at the hatred, it's not hatred about Diane, it's fear. It's fear that she gets it right. It's fear that if she was in government, she'd have done the right thing. And it's that we need to celebrate in Diane. She knows what she stands for. She keeps going, and she gets it done in the end. Thank you very much, Diane.
Thank you, Delroy. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Delroy.
Thank you, Delroy. So we're nearly at the end of our celebration here. Have you had a good time so far, Diane?
It's been so moving. I didn't expect it at all. I didn't know it was going to be this type of event. I mean, it was in my diary that I was doing something at 7:30. I had no idea exactly what it is, what it was going to be. And it was moving, and I was almost a little bit tearful at times, because it's like the whole of your past life is moving in front of you. And to see people like Delroy, to even see people like Michael Portillo, I mean, you've just had an extraordinary mix of people. And because sometimes in my position, you can feel very alone. And it's been great this evening to be reminded that there are some people who appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I have been so impressed. I mean, so many people were writing in trying to send clips. I can't fit. I mean, I have to apologise on here that there's so many I couldn't fit on to the show. So that's how much of an impression you make on people. That's how loved you are. And that's why we're going to have to sort this statue out that John McDonnell was talking about. Because there's going to be, as he said, there's going to be quite a few plinths that need something on top to replace them. And I think you would be fantastic as a statue. And I'm really pleased you came on. I'm pleased you came on at all, because it's a bit strange, these Zoom things, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I am going to introduce our singer who's on every show, which is Rob, and he will be serenading you at the end of our show. So, Rob, are you there?
Well, just to say, before Rob comes on, I'd really like to thank the organisers who've done a fantastic job. I'd like to thank everyone that's viewing on Facebook and whatever. And I'd like to thank the people that gave their personal tributes. It's been a really fantastic experience for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rob, have you got a message for Diane?
No, just total respect, and I so enjoy this evening. It's been inspirational, as you are, Diane. So 33 years. Please keep going.
And you recorded a new song for this show, and can you tell us about the song?
It's called Building Something Better. It started off being about trying to remember that Diane's election was so significant because it's the first, and we believe in I believe in collective action. I'm not very good with vanguards, but there's usually somebody at some point is the first person to come up with the idea, like, let's give this a push. I'm going to do that, and that, like, people like Diane are essential and transformative because they'd like that match, like the Corbyn years did, and a load of other people go, yeah, I can do that too. We can do this together. So it's hopefully a song about that, and also chucking statues in the river. Old statues.
Okay, well, look, I'll play your song because we don't play it live because Zoom can't cope with live music, so we've got to record it. So I'm going to play your song now.
It's all well and good saying a change is bound to come. Where's it gonna come from? Someone strikes a match. Someone looks around and says, come on, we can do this. Together, we can put those statues in the river. Old white statues, old white men, empires built on slavery, looking after white privilege, number 1 to number 10. Come on, we can change this. Together, put those statues in the river. Someone throws a line, someone catches hold. Hey look, it's just a pile of old stone. But if you don't hit it, it's never gonna fall. So everybody push, everybody pull together. Together, we can put those statues in the river. Whoa. Something better. We can build something better. We can build something better than words for one and all. Together. Whoa, yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Well, and now we're going. What we do at the end of every show, Diane, is we unmute everyone, and they leave messages across to the other people here. Often we hear, "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn," but I suspect it might be something else tonight. Shall we see what we get? Thank you again for coming on, Diane. You're a wonderful inspiration to people all over the country, and we wish you well for the next at least 17 years so that you can beat Dennis Skinner's record of 50.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will now allow everyone to say hello and goodbye for Diane Abbott's celebration. So here we go. Unmute all. I'm going to press the button now.
Oh, Diane Abbott. Oh, Diane Abbott. Oh,
Lives matter. Fantastic. Solidarity forever, Diane.
Sweet Diane.
Yeah.
Oh, we
In the river.
Oh, Diana. Oh, Diana. Solidarity, Diana. Safe, happy. We're in your heart.